In Miami, Florida, a teacher named Stephanie is jogging. Her family consists of only 3 people: her husband Michael, who works at a bank, and her 18-year-old daughter Nicole, who attends school. When she gets home, Stephanie hurries to make breakfast. However, due to Michael's work stress, the time they can spend together as a family is limited, and he leaves without eating breakfast. Nicole also refuses to eat anything, which makes Stephanie a little sad. Later, she goes to school and starts teaching her students. During class, a new student named James arrives. Stephanie asks him some questions, and he answers with great intelligence. Hearing his answers, she congratulates him, filling James with pride. At the end of class, Stephanie meets Richard, a member of the school staff, who tries to flatter her about her beauty. However, she doesn't pay much attention to him. Later, she talks to Linda about James, the new student, emphasizing the boy's intelligence. Linda tells her that James has transferred from another school and that he wants to continue his studies there. Later that evening, Stephanie is at the pool, and after swimming for a while, she approaches her husband and they start kissing. However, they are being watched from a distance by someone who takes photos of them. Stephanie receives a message from an unknown number that says, "See you this week," without revealing their name. That morning, Stephanie takes her students on a field trip where she talks about poisonous flowers and some animals. But even there, someone takes pictures of her. Later, they board a boat to visit the surrounding areas, and Richard explains various things to the students. James sits next to Stephanie and takes the opportunity to talk to her. At the end of the trip, everyone stays at a hotel. When Stephanie arrives in her room to rest, she looks out the window and sees James standing near the sea, shirtless. When he notices her, she quickly hides. After a while, everyone gets together to have some fun. However, Stephanie notices that James is watching her. Meanwhile, she receives a phone call from Michael and goes outside to talk to him. Suddenly, James appears behind her, scaring her and causing her to fall to the ground. Noticing that Stephanie is hurt, he wets his shirt with water and places it on her wound to make her feel better. Then he sits next to her and confesses that he felt watched when she was looking at him from the window. He starts kissing her, and although she initially reciprocates, she pulls away, saying she can't do this. The next day, Stephanie returns home, and Michael asks her how her trip went. She replies that everything went well, avoiding mentioning James. However, she begins to reflect on her encounter with the student. Meanwhile, at his home, James draws a beautiful portrait of Stephanie, revealing his intense interest in his teacher. The next morning, when Stephanie goes out for a run, she notices someone following her in a car, but the vehicle quickly drives away. Then she meets Linda and tells her about her experience, saying that she made a big mistake by getting involved with a student. Linda warns her that if anyone finds out, they could defame her at school and in society. Linda suggests that James should be transferred to another class so that he won't bother her. The next day, in class, Stephanie informs James that he has been transferred to another class and that Linda will explain why. James is upset and leaves without saying anything. Later, someone breaks into the lab and steals a poisonous snake. After class, James approaches Stephanie to ask her for an explanation about his transfer. She tries to explain that it wasn't her decision, but the school principal's. Richard, who is eavesdropping, is intrigued. Meanwhile, Linda is talking on the phone when she is suddenly bitten by the snake, which was hiding in her drawer. That evening, while Stephanie is having dinner with her family, someone knocks on the door. Michael opens the door and finds flowers, which Stephanie warns him not to touch because they are poisonous. Meanwhile, James arrives home at the same time and notices that his mother is looking at Stephanie's portrait. However, he forbids her from touching his things. The next day, when he arrives at school, Richard confronts James and warns him that he must stay away from Stephanie or he could be arrested. Later, James goes to Stephanie's office and leaves her a locket that belonged to his grandmother, telling her it is for her. Stephanie refuses to accept it, but James insists that they are meant for each other and that she is perfect for him. Hearing this, Stephanie makes it clear to him that he is overstepping boundaries and asks him to leave. James, seeing himself rejected, threatens to reveal their relationship to everyone, which could get her in trouble. Shortly after, Richard approaches Stephanie and tells her that he sent her flowers the night before. She, visibly angry, reminds him that they were poisonous and that something could have happened to Michael. Richard replies that he just wanted to be a good friend, but Stephanie asks him not to try anything like that again and leaves. Later, while working in the lab, Stephanie begins to feel dizzy and discovers that someone has put the same type of flower in her water. She begins to hallucinate and sees James trying to approach her. Despite her condition, she manages to get out of there. Linda, Richard, and James arrive, and she loses consciousness. When Stephanie wakes up at home, her daughter tells her that she fainted at school and that the police have opened an investigation. The next day, a detective comes to her house to inform her that someone has tried to harm her. If she suspects anyone, she must report it. After thinking about it, she says that Richard sent her the flowers, implying that he could be the one responsible. The police rush to the school and arrest Richard. He proclaims his innocence, but no one pays attention to him. Later, the principal calls Stephanie into his office and explains that Richard has been arrested. He advises her to stay home for a few days until the case is resolved. Outside the school, she meets James in his car with bruises on his face. She asks him what happened, so he replies that he had a fight with his mother's boyfriend. Then he says it's good that Richard was arrested, claiming that he could have hurt her. Stephanie, however, advises him to forget what happened between them, since she is his teacher and older than him. The next day, Stephanie talks to her daughter Nicole, who tells her that she likes a boy and is dating him. Nicole thinks he's a nice guy, so she suggests inviting him over for dinner to get to know him, and Stephanie agrees. Later, Linda warns Stephanie not to take James lightly, as after checking his background, she has discovered that he has been expelled from several schools for his behavior and that he could do dangerous things. That evening, Stephanie prepares dinner for Nicole's new boyfriend, but it turns out to be James. During dinner, James starts acting strangely, even trying to touch Stephanie while they talk, making her uncomfortable. Shortly after, James goes to the bathroom, but his real intention is to go into Stephanie's room. Sensing that something is wrong, she also enters the house. James closes the door and tells her that he has followed her advice to find a girlfriend his own age. Enraged, Stephanie orders him to leave or she will call the police. However, James kisses her and tries to get closer to her. Nicole arrives and Stephanie asks James to leave, which he does reluctantly. Stephanie explains to Nicole that James is not right for her and that he only wants to take advantage of her. However, Nicole, angry, ignores her mother's warnings. Later, Stephanie swims in the pool. Unexpectedly, someone breaks into her house. It is Richard, who has been released because there was no evidence against him. He tries to convince Stephanie that what happened at school was not her fault, but James's. However, she is reluctant to talk and asks him to leave. Richard leaves, but on the way he meets James, who stabs him mercilessly, killing him. He then hides the body in the trunk of his car before returning home, where his mother is surprised to see what he has done. The next day, James contacts Nicole and tells her that their encounter the night before was a misunderstanding. He says he needs to talk to her about what happened, so Nicole decides to go look for him. But when James tries to leave, his mother confronts him with a gun, begging him to stop. However, he takes the gun and asks her to take him somewhere he can hide. Shortly after, James tells Nicole that Stephanie forced him to kiss her the night before, hinting that he has plans for their future. She is confused, but James invites her to his house on the pretext of introducing her to his mother. Later, James contacts Stephanie and threatens her, telling her that he has Nicole under his control. He adds that if she does anything against him, he will kill Nicole. Stephanie tries to quickly reach James' house, but her car breaks down, so she starts running. When she arrives at his house, she finds James' mother injured in a closet. Stephanie also discovers many photos of herself in a room, revealing that James was spying on her. In the same room, she finds Richard's lifeless body. Just then, James appears, declaring that he is in love with her and that she would never understand his pain. He admits that he killed his father because of the constant abuse he and his mother suffered. Stephanie, horrified, tries to calm him down, but her efforts seem futile. When she finally has the chance, Stephanie tries to grab the gun from him, sparking a fight between the two. James hits her hard and tries to strangle her, but James' mother arrives and shoots her son, causing him to fall to the ground. Shortly after, Stephanie tries to rebuild her life with her family after the terrifying incident. Meanwhile, in the hospital, James is in police custody and recovering, but the terrible event has not changed him. Seeing a nurse, he begins to flirt with her, making her his next obsession. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thank you for watching.